Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Potato. Brown. Cole.
Here.
Hochstetter.
Here.
Newman. Councilmember Newman.
I did not hear from her today. So,
Reed.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
all right. So all were present except for Councilmember Newman. Move to consent agenda. Number 1 is Resolution 1648, Transportation Improvement Board Grant Acceptance. On this consent agenda, Michelle, would you
Mayor, would
read
you like me to read the
would you
consent
read the
agenda?
consent agenda, please?
Certainly. Item number 1, resolution number 1648, Transportation Improvement Board Grant Acceptance, Elm Street Sidewalk. Item 2, resolution number 1650, Pierce County Grant Acceptance, Ryan House Rehabilitation. Item 3, resolution number 1651, setting public hearing for 24th Street East partial right-of-way vacation. Item number 4, resolution number 1652, floodplains by design grant acceptance. Item number 5, biosolids equipment modernization project design supplement. Item number 6, approval of the minutes from the February 6, 2023 regular council meeting and the 13th February 2023 joint study session.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Hochstetter, would you please make a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Yeah, I move we adopt the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilmember Stewart. It has been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Would any council member like to remove an item? Would any council member like to remove? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. All right. Moving on to we have a public hearing for the surplus of real property south of 24th Street. I will open the public hearing at 6:02. And I will call on Andrea Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. Tonight's public hearing is related to a proposed property surplus. Before the city can sell property it owns, whether it be real or personal property. It's okay. Which essentially is a statement to the public that the property is no longer needed for a governmental purpose. The map being shown on the screen depicts generally the area of the property we are proposing to surplus. It's comprised of a 200-foot wide strip of property immediately west of the BNSF tracks and south of 24th Street East and north of the GSA building on the south end. The property is proposed to be surplus and then subsequently conveyed to BNSF Railroad as part of the city's White River Restoration Project. The property was originally purchased with utility funds, so tonight's public hearing is required by law and is an opportunity for council to hear from the public on this proposed action. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the council? Do we have any questions from the public? Seeing none. I see nobody on screen. I will close the public hearing at 6:05. All right. Now moving on to. We have no unfinished business tonight. We'll move on to public comment. The public was encouraged to submit their comments to the city clerk by email before tonight's meeting, so the clerk may read those emails received into the record. I have one signed up. Did we have any in the mail?
No, Mayor, we did not.
Not, I will call on, Pete Connell, since you was signed up. Okay.
Mr. O'Connell, there's
One
an
short.
on-off button on your mic. Quit mind pushing. it.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm one short. I apologize.
There's one short.
Yeah,
Okay, we're good.
thank you. My name is Pete Cannell. I live at 15205 Daffodil Street, Court East in Sumner here. And I come forward to you today to talk about the area that I live in, which is right behind Daffodil Elementary, kind of to the northeast of Daffodil Elementary. And the top picture you see that I gave you is looking east. You're looking from the Miller Gymnasium. You're looking east across the baseball fields, basically. This is the area that me and all my neighbors kind of try to walk our dogs in that area. This is kind of leads up to dog parks in the city. The Siebenthaler Dog Park is underwater basically a lot of the year, and you guys kind of know that already because it's the same as every place around here. It just gets wetness in the wintertime. So there's really no dog park in the wintertime. We have been walking our dogs out here in the field a little bit when there's nobody around anything, but lately we've been told by the animal control officer that we're not allowed in there anymore. And so I know there's signs on the fence, but it's not used hardly at all during the day. And that's when me and my neighbors go out and walk our dogs and throw the ball for our dogs. We clean up after ourselves. We're very respectful. And I'm not explaining that. I'm not trying to tell you that this is the right thing to do, but it's really the only place I have to do it right now is to throw the ball for my dog. If you look at the next picture, on this picture that I gave you, this one right here, this is this area right here in the middle of the picture. This is the only area that they allow me to go and walk my dog. And this is what the area looks like daily. Kids go in there, high school kids go in there every day I see them from noon on all the way at the end of school till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And this is what the area looks like daily. I talked to one of the city workers, works for the streets or the parks department. He says he can go out there every day and do this cleanup every day because it's just turned into a wasteland. He told me they've been pushed away from Siebenthaler Park by a police presence in that area. And now they moved over to this park over by us. And I've been told this is school property, not city property, which is kind of frustrating to me. I mean, not frustrating, confusing to me, because it seems like it's city property, not school property. But the school is in the last picture is broken glass all over the ground. So again, on this front picture, if you look at it, looking at this way right here from east, that's this area right here. And there's broken glass along here every day that we walk by there and we can't walk our animals there. Because like I said, the gentleman I talked to said, I have to clean up the glass every day because kids go in there and just throw stuff and just garbage. So it's really kind of frustrating for us as homeowners in that area that there's really no area around that place that we can take to walk our dogs and put them on fresh grass and let them run. I talked to the animal control officer. She said it's because they tear up the turf. I said more than the girls playing softball out here tear up the turf. I don't have a pack of dogs. I have one small dog, and we both have a couple of just small dogs. And we throw the ball for them for an hour and then head home. It's as a citizen of Sumner who pays $7,000 a year for taxes, for property taxes, and this is the kind of thing that I have to deal with daily because I'm a tax-paying citizen who can't walk his dog in my own area because this is what I have to deal with. And I understand this is very low priority for the police department. It's really nothing for them. But for us who live by that every day, by see the kids light the picnic tables over there on fire and just throw their garbage everywhere, break glass everywhere, it's just very frustrating for us. And it's frustrating for the city employees that have to go out there and deal with it every day. So I'm asking, maybe if in the future you guys can think about, since we're building all these apartment buildings all over here now, we're gonna have more and more people and more animals. And 150 by 100 slot for dogs is not enough. And I know that it's land, I know land's expensive, but as a taxpayer, and I just retired from the fire service after 29 years, so I know what it is to work with the community and work for the community. And
Sir,
this
your
is,
time is up.
I'm sorry, okay.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay.
I know the dog gets an award. That's the cutest dog ever. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to ordinance number 2848, zoning code text amendment, medium density residential ESUV accessory. Councilmember Newman is not on board, so do I have a motion on this? Okay,
Yes, I move to approve ordinance number 2848, amending the zoning code regarding accessory parking in the MDR/ESUB zone.
thank you, Councilmember Cole. Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Hochstetter, and I call on Ryan Windish.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening. Good evening, City Council. Before you tonight is an ordinance that's a fairly minor zoning code text amendment, but it'll take a little bit of explanation. So if you can give me a couple of seconds here, I'll do some explaining. So this would amend our neighborhood commercial and MDR zones that's located in the East Sumner neighborhood area. And it would allow for basically parking to occur in an adjacent zone for a use that's happening in the neighborhood commercial zone. And I have, why we're getting an echo here. Make sure I'm muted. Unmuted. Hello? All right. So the area of town that we're talking about is our neighborhood commercial zone, which on our zoning map is surrounded by this kind of red and purple dashed line. I made my hand a little bigger so you could see it. And I'll zoom in a little bit here. Kind of really be able to show what we're talking about. So the red on the map is the neighborhood commercial zone. For kind of orientation, the YMCA sits right here. The Windmill Bistro is kind of up in this corner. There used to be some trees here that were cleared for future development. And neighborhood commercial is the red area. And then the medium density residential is this green kind of candy striped area. And when the zoning was put together, the intent was that the properties along the street would have storefront, street front type of development, similar to what we have on East Main Street, similar to what we have in our historic downtown. And if you have a big enough development, and I'll show you a picture of the development, the apartments and the commercial that's going to go in this location. If you have a big enough development, you can kind of incorporate it into the whole plan, right? So you can see kind of a storefront. I don't know why it comes up not an arrow there, but I apologize. Storefront here at the street edge, you have apartments above, you have apartments behind. And so that neighborhood commercial can be mixed use. It can have apartments and it can have commercial. And that works great if you have a big enough parcel and the developer incorporates it. But the situation we have that we discovered, this happens when people come in with ideas and proposals, is that we have a single lot in this strip of properties that they want to convert the house to a restaurant. And so what we have is a property with an existing house where my big hand is. And then they're going to develop a drive aisle and parking behind. in accordance with our code. But the property is split by the zones. So on the right-hand side is neighborhood commercial, on the left-hand side is medium density residential. And again, the intent is that the neighborhood commercial is at the street edge and the parking in the rear. And like I said, all that can work really well if you have a large enough development. But if you're taking one of these lots individually, then you might have some challenges making all the parking fit where it needs to fit. And as hard as we tried, there was really no easy way to allow the parking for a neighborhood commercial zone to be located in the medium density residential zone. Medium density residential is mostly going to be a multifamily apartment type development. And so therefore we needed an amendment, and that's what's before you tonight, basically allowing for a neighborhood commercial type use, and in this case, it would be a restaurant, to have 50%, up to 50% of their parking located in an adjacent medium density residential zone. And the reason that kind of works is because in a medium density residential zone, you're going to allow parking for housing, and it would need to be screened. It would, there's not an excessive amount of parking that's going to happen here. And so this, while I'm showing this as an illustration, I just want to be really clear, this doesn't just apply to this property, right? It applies to all of these properties potentially over here that might have a similar situation. It would also apply to these properties at front along Main Street here that might have a similar situation. A house converting to a commercial use, they need parking. There's not enough room for parking on their lot, so could they potentially use the medium density residential that's adjacent? So that's in essence the text amendment to allow for up to 50% of the parking from a neighborhood commercial zone, the red, to locate in the medium density residential zone, the candy striping. So happy to answer any other questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Mr. Windisch? No questions? Deputy Mayor?
I'll just comment that this went to committee and the committee gave it a due pass. And we felt that it was very reasonable and it made a lot of sense. And I just want to make one thing clear. They have to own that property behind them. They
Correct.
can't just do
Yes.
it on someone else's property.
No,
It would be if they had purchased directly behind them and it had that zoning in that particular area. So
correct.
I think this will help further development along there. So thank you for working so hard on this, Ryan.
Thank you for clarifying that. Go ahead, Earl.
Mr. Windisch, I'm curious if there are other parcels, other properties elsewhere in the city, not just in that area, that this would apply to as well.
Councilmember Stewart, this would only apply to those properties that I showed you because it's for the East Sumner neighborhood area.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none. Any member of the public wish to speak on this? No, seeing none. Michelle, would you please call the roll?
Cole,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Hochstetter,
Yes.
Potato.
Yes.
Passes unanimous.
Mayor and Madam Clerk, Councilmember Newman arrived during that presentation
Okay,
at 6:17.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councilmember Newman.
I see her now.
And Madam Clerk, did you get that Newman was a yes on that last matter?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to resolution number 1649. Councilmember Stewart, would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I make a motion approving resolution number 1649. Oh, sorry. Been way too long. Make a motion approving resolution number 1649, the acceptance of $6 million in grant funds from the Washington State Transportation Improvement Board for use in the Stewart Road corridor completion. White River Bridge Project, which is CIP 13-08, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to accept the funds substantially in a form as approved by the city attorney.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Seconded by Deputy Mayor Hochstetter. And now we have Michael Kosa.
Good evening, Mayor Hayden and city council members. I am here to provide exceptionally pleasant news. The city of Sumner was awarded an urban arterial program grant from the Transportation Improvement Board to improve mobility by replacing the existing Stewart Road Bridge over the White River, which is considered functionally obsolete and has been operating at overcapacity due to the increasing traffic volumes using the corridor. Replacing this bridge is vital to providing the transportation infrastructure for development of the Sumner Pacific Manufacturing Industrial Center. This grant provides $6 million towards completion of the project. Acceptance of the grant requires the city to enter into a grant agreement with the Transportation Improvement Board. What you see on the screen there is a little bit more information, and there's quite a bit there, but there's the photos on the left side. And those are two renderings. The rendering on the top is the existing bridge configuration. And then the rendering below is the proposed bridge configuration. So you can see the top one has 2 lanes of traffic, the bottom one has 4 across the bridge, as well as a pedestrian non-motorized shared use path that's has separation from the roadway itself. So a much safer experience for non-motorized users specifically, because right now there's absolutely no sidewalk across that bridge. But in addition to that, the top photo and the bottom photo actually have the same number of vehicles. They're just more crowded on that top photo because of the fewer lanes and the bottleneck that is experienced there. So I did put a lot of numbers on the other side of the slide on the right, and it really goes and catalogs all of the funding that this project has received over the years. We really started in earnest in 2013 when we received our first grant, and have been working to work through design and right of way, and now into construction ever since. So at the top, that top is all the funds that we received from other outside parties, as well as the city funds that we have. And the 3 on the bottom, that are in bold, are the National Highway Freight Program for $7 million, a state TIB grant, which is what we're discussing tonight, for $6 million, and then a federal U.S. congressional grant appropriation, actually, through the U.S. Congress for $2.8 million. That was really benefited by Representative Strickland's office. So those are the grants, those 3 that we've essentially been officially awarded in the past 2 to 3 months. Took a lot of effort and staff time and commitment to getting those funds secured, but they all kind of came together at the same time. So what's really exciting is that we, when you put it all together, we have about $35 million committed to the project, which fully funds the Stewart Road Bridge.
Nice.
Something that we've been working at for 10 years and more. That bridge was originally conceived back in the 1990s. So it really has been a multi-decade journey. But really, this last $15-16 million that just appeared, which is really remarkable. A lot of time and effort spent gathering all the funds, and now we're ready to put them into action. So the timing, right now we're finishing up our design and right-of-way phases in the next few months here, and then we'll be obligating the funds for construction. We hope to be out to bid in the fall, and then awarding a contract later in fall or early January of 2024. We're working through permitting right now and working through our final right-of-way acquisitions. But that's just a little bit about the project in general. Like I said, this is specifically about the TIB grant because this is required in order to, it had to go through council. But we're really excited about the whole project in general, and it seemed like a good time to talk about it. So
Thank you.
happy to answer any
Do we
questions.
have any questions? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you for all your hard work on this. Well, this bridge is worn out, isn't it? Yeah, and the plans I saw made, this next one is designed to be higher and up off the river, so we won't have that log jam flood problem that has happened over the years. So I am just so excited that you were able to pull this together. So thank you.
Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. This item was brought before the Public Works Committee at our last meeting, and we wholeheartedly and happily gave it a due pass. And Mr. Koza, this is just really a good deal. Thank you so much for working on this and getting it funded. We've known for some time that the bridge was becoming functionally obsolete because the river's rising, the silt bed's rising, and I personally know that that bridge is a death trap to bike riders, and just really, really good news. Thank you so much.
Councilmember Reed.
Thank you, Mayor. Kind of along the same lines, I want to say thank you to Michael and everybody that's been working on this project for so long. It was, I know the challenges that have been faced with a lot of the grant requests and waiting and presenting the right information at the right time for the right grant. And it's amazing work. Thank you.
Councilmember Newman.
Along similar lines, I can't ever tell, like, sometimes I know, like, okay, staff works hard every day. And so a lot of times we don't thank you enough, but other times I sit there and wonder, oh, every time someone does a presentation, we say thank you, and maybe the gratitude actually gets lost. But on this case, I just like in awe. I don't think the public will ever realize or appreciate the efforts that had to go into a project like this. I was a skeptic. I'm just in awe that you were able to get this done. I thought because of the complications with all the jurisdictions, I was fearful for this being permanently a lost cause. And so I hope 10 years from now, the public will know who to thank. And just, this is just great, impressive work. I can't believe you guys made it to the top, like to enough transportation priorities. Just great job.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh, Councilmember Botetto.
So now that you've got the funds secured, how long will the project take to, so we'll see the bottom picture?
Good question. We have, we're, like I said, going through final permitting in the next few months. We've been working with Puget Sound Energy and other telecom utility companies to get, they have an early utility relocation phase this year. They are currently they're ordering poles right now for that. So there is some actual activity going on right now. Most likely, we will be starting in 2024. The project is expected to take about 3 years, and it's primarily because of the in-water work. We only have a 45-day window in the summer when we can work in the water, and we have a pier that we have to install in the water. So it's going to take some time. That we're not closing the bridge during construction. We're keeping it open, and so we have to build part of it, shift traffic, demo part of it. So there's a little bit of extra time because of that, but it's well worth it that we don't have to inconvenience the traveling public by taking the bridge out of service for a year or more.
Right,
So.
yeah. Well, I mean, like everybody else on the council, I appreciate all the work that you've put into it and the rest of the department. So thank you.
Thank you. Nice job. All right. Thank you very much. Yep. Anybody in the public like to speak on this? No? Okay. Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Stewart,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hochstetter,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Shadow,
Yes.
Cole. Yes.
I wouldn't have thought of any other outcome, but passes unanimous. Okay. Down to reports. Pat,
No report tonight.
Deputy Mayor,
Nothing, thank you.
Councilmember Stewart,
No report tonight. Thank you.
Councilmember Potato.
On Saturday, I'm going to be one of the judges for the school district art fair, and there's also the STEM fair. It'll be at Sumner Middle School, probably starting about 9 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Nothing tonight.
And I'm so thankful to our staff. Yep. Councilmember Newman.
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Reed.
Nothing this evening. Thank you.
I didn't almost forget you. Jason was blocking.
We saw him point behind him.
All right, thank you. City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor and
Jason.
Council. Coming up at next week's study session, we have 3 items on the docket. First is an update from the South Sound Housing Affordability Partnership group. Their executive director, Jason Gauthier, will be here to talk about everything that SHAPE has been working on, as well as start a discussion about our House Bill 1406 that you may recall. We get a portion of the sales tax revenue back to invest in affordable housing. So the region is starting to talk about how we use those dollars best. Public Works will also be here to give us an update on all the downtown construction projects going on, just so council's aware, in case they get asked about either the Town Center Utility Wooner project, Main Wood intersection, and all the other improvements that are going on in the downtown core. And then we'll continue our discussion regarding the library capital facilities area, looking for some council direction on Monday about what that future LCFA could look like. And that'll be coming back to you for a final decision on March 6th. Speaking of March 6th, in addition to the LCFA, you'll have a contract approval for Parks Plan update, an agreement with PSC regarding Stewart Road Bridge construction, a resolution authorizing an interlocal agreement with the South Correctional Entity, and a design commissioner appointment, a civil service commissioner reappointment, as well as an ordinance authorizing the surplus of the real property south of 24th Street East, which you had the public hearing on tonight. 2 personnel issues. We're continuing to recruit police officers. Recently, the mayor approved the change to our hiring incentive and has increased that to $20,000 for lateral police officers. And actually, it's been paying off since we did that. We've actually had 4 lateral applicants. And we're going through the hiring process on those and the review process. Currently, we're also recruiting for an emergency management safety coordinator. Visit our website if you're interested in that position or to apply. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Any questions? You're off the hook. I just want to say that, what was I going to say? Our downtown, I'm so proud of them. They've gone through COVID, they've gone through construction, and they sold over 100,000 tickets to the wine walk last weekend, and it was bustling down there. People were buying things and having a great time. So no matter what, our downtown is surviving, and they did a beautiful job. So we have no executive session tonight. I will say at 6:34, meeting adjourned.